Good morning. Today is Tuesday, the 24th day of Nisan, and we are in the middle of we're beginning chapter 42, very special chapter. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone tonight we have a very exciting lesson from the Parsha, the Torah studies, about why we should be excited with the boring mitzvahs that seems to be very boring, that should always also excite us. So join us tonight, the same station. And today in this chapter 42 in the Tanya is very, very interesting topic that we're discussing, and we're discussing the concept of Moshe Rabbeinu being the faithful shepherd, and that there is a little Moshe in each and every one of us, and that there is a ispashtusa de Moshe, the continuation of Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation within the leaders, the spiritual leaders, and explaining all this within the context of the Avas Hashem and Yiras Hashem, fear of Hashem, love of Hashem, that we discussed in the previous chapter, how when we do a mitzvah, it's not enough that we just do the mitzvah. We have to do the mitzvah, we have to give it wings to fly up. The love, the fear of Hashem. So he begins this chapter 42 with a question in a Talmudic passage that says about what Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people in the desert. He's talking to the Jews and he says, what does God ask from you? Not much. Ki'im li'irat Hashem. All he's asking you to fear Hashem, to love Hashem. Focusing here on the fear. And the Talmud asks the question, to fear God, is that such a small thing? I mean, we ask the average person, what is he fearful from? You can be fearful from many things you can imagine, from an enemy, from the taxes, for whatever scares you. But to say to fear Hashem, to fear God, maybe some people do. But to say it's an easy thing, this is such an easy thing to really achieve the concept of fearing God, it's such a small thing. That's the question of the Talmud. And the Gemara says, yes, for Moshe Rabbeinu, it's a small thing. That's the answer the Gemara gives. And the question the Alter Rebbe asks, and I'm sure many of you ask the same question, what kind of answer is this? This is a non-answer. The Torah says it's talking to all the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to all of us. And when we're saying to all of us, what does God demand from us? Just to fear Hashem. So to give an answer that for Moshe Rabbeinu it's a small thing, it's not an answer. And the point of the answer that Alter Rebbe is going to give here is that there is a Moshe within each and every one of us. Moshe Rabbeinu is called a faithful shepherd, and he feeds faith to each and every one. So let's look inside chapter 42 in Tanya. Says the Alter Rebbe, in the light of what has already been said on the subject of the lower level of fear, all of what we have been discussing, fearing God, that's all considered the lower level of fear. Later on, he's going to explain there is a deeper level of fear and awe. He's talking about a simple level of fear God, not wanting to disconnect from God, and so on. Based on all of this, what we just explained, Yuvan Heitev, Mashakasuv Begemara, we will understand very well what the Talmudic comment, Al Pasuk, and the verse that it says in Deuteronomy, Ve'ata Yisrael, Mo Hashem Elekecha Shoyel Meimach. And now, Israel, what does God, the Lord, what is He is asking from you? Ki'im le'ira es Hashem Elekecha. Only that you fear the Lord your God. So the Talmud asks the question, Otu yira milsa zutrasi? Is fear then such a small thing that we're saying that all that God is asking is just to fear? And the Gemara answers, yes. Legabe Moshe milsa zutrasehi. In the case of Moshe, in the case of Moses, this is considered a small thing. The L'chaira eine moving teretz. Says the Alter Rebbe, at first glance, the answer that the Gemara gives is not understood. There are shoyel me'imach ksiv. Because the verse asks and says, what does he require of you? Who is you? You is each and every Jew. So what does it help me that Moshe Rabbeinu is such a high level? For him, it's a small thing. What about me? What about the rest of us? Ela ha'inyan, says the Alter Rebbe. The explanation, however, is ki b'kol nefesh v'nefesh mi beis Yisrael yesh ba mibchinas Moshe Rabbeinu olav hashalom. Each and every soul of the house of Israel has within him something of the quality of our teacher Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu, peace up unto him. Ki hu mishiva roim, because he is one of the 7 shepherds. There are the 7 shepherds that our sages tell us. We have Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, and David. And this is, we know, those are the people, the shepherds, the Ushpizin and the holiday of Sukkot. They come to visit the Sukkah. They are called shepherds. There are many, many righteous people, many, many Jewish leaders, but only these 7 are called shepherds. Why? What does a shepherd do? A shepherd feeds the flock. And these 7 have something unique that they feed. They feed all of us. And each one of them feeds something else. Abraham feeds the level concept of chesed, kindness. Yitzchak is the concept of gvura, the justice, the severities, and so on. Each one has a special thing that he feeds the Jewish people. Amamshichim chayus veleikus lerklalus nishmes Israel. That they cause vitality and godliness to flow to the community of the souls of Israel. The vitality refers to the ahavas Hashem, yiras Hashem, love of Hashem, and fear of Hashem. Elikus, godliness, meaning to be nullified to God. These 7, are the ones who feed those qualities to each and every Jew. That is why they are referred to as shepherds. However, says the Alter Rebbe, there's something unique about Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu, he is the main one. Moshe Rabbeinu alav hashalom hu klalus kulam. Our teacher Moses, peace upon him, he comprises the aspect of them all. V'nikra raya mehemne. He is called a faithful shepherd. What does it mean? Da'ainu shemamshich pchinas ada'as liklalus Israel leida es Hashem. That Moshe Rabbeinu draws down the quality of das. What is das? Das, we know we have chachma, bina, and das. Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. The wisdom and understanding, this is the intellectual understanding. The knowledge is knowing something. Like to know something is to be something. To know someone is to be someone. What does it mean? Das is the part of the intellect that connects the person to the concept emotionally. You become connected to it. The word das means knowledge, but means connecting. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu feeds the Jewish people, that he draws down this level of das, liklolus Israel, to the community of Israel, leida as Hashem, to know that they may know Hashem, to connect to Hashem, that they should feel godliness. Each one according to his level. Kol echad kefi asagas nishmasoi v'shorosho l'maylo. Each according to the intellectual capacity of his soul and its root above. Some people have their soul is rooted higher than others, and therefore the connection and understanding and connecting to godliness is in a higher level than others. And also, it is according to the degree of its nurture from the root of the soul of our teacher Moshe Rabbeinu. Peace and name. And the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu is rooted in the highest level, the world of Atzilus. He says, "Amushreshes bedas ha'elyon shebeyud sfiras de Atzilus," which is rooted in the Das Elyon, the supernal knowledge of the 10 attributes of the world of Atzilus. Atzilus is the highest of the 4 spiritual worlds, which are united, which they're emanated with God Himself. For He and His knowledge are one, and He is the knowledge, meaning, and we're saying that Moshe Rabbeinu is connected with the das of the world of the 10 spheres of Atzilus, the 10 attributes of the world of Atzilus. The world of Atzilus is one with the emanator, with God, and the das of Atzilus is one with Hashem, because Hashem and His knowledge are one, as we learned earlier in the 2nd chapter. So this is number one. Number one, it says, we connect to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is one of the 7 shepherds, and he is the main one, because he is the one that connects the intellect with the emotions. He's the das, connecting us to Hashem. In addition to that, says the Alter Rebbe, in addition to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu gives us the emunah, Moshe Rabbeinu feeds us the das, there is also in every single generation the spiritual leaders who have a spark of the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. In addition and beyond this, in every single generation, there is sparks from the soul of our teacher, Master Moshe Rabbeinu. They come down, umislapshim beguf v'nefesh shel chachmei adoir einei ya'eda. They clothe themselves in the body and the soul of our sages, the sages of the generation, that are called, they're considered the term, the eyes of the congregation. In every generation we have this. And the Rebbe notes that the Alter Rebbe uses first that the neshama, the spark of Moshe Rabbeinu, they come down in the body and the soul. First he says the body, because the body of the tzaddikim are as holy, and just looking at the tzaddik gives a person inspiration and connecting the person to Hashem, to even just looking at a holy tzaddik, because the spark is even in the body. And these leaders, they teach the people. They teach the people the knowledge. They impart the knowledge to the people. To know the greatness of Hashem, and to serve Him with heart and soul. Because the service of the heart is according to the das. The more das you have connecting, the more you can serve Hashem. K'moshe Kasav, as the verse says, Da es Eloikei avicha, ve'avdeyu belev sholem v'nefesh chafetza. Know the God of your father and serve him with all your heart and with a longing soul. So in order to serve Hashem with a complete heart and a longing soul, you have to first know Hashem. This is the job of the leaders of the generation. They give the das, and again, it's the knowledge, not just information that they give. They give the connection. They themselves are connected, and what they impart on us, also this das, this knowledge and connecting to Hashem. In the future, concerning the future, the Messianic era, it says, then v'lo yelamdu ish ezreyehu lema de'uz Hashem ki chulam yedu oisi. It is written, they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know God, for they shall know all me. Oh, they shall all know me. That means when Mashiach comes, we'll be able to connect to Hashem directly. But in the Gullus, in the time especially now, we have the Rebbe, we have the tzaddikim of every generation that connects us. They connect us to Hashem. So this is two things he said. Number one, he says Moshe Rabbeinu is the shepherd, the faithful shepherd. It says Moshe Rabbeinu, it says Moshe Rabbeinu stands and serves even up high. Malhalan Yeshiv Mishamesh, Afkan Yeshiv Mishamesh. Moshe Rabbeinu leads and feeds the people. And number two, he says that in every generation you have the leaders of every generation, the tzaddikim, the Rebbe of every generation, that they connect us and bring the das, the knowledge and connecting to Hashem. And here the Alter Rebbe says number three, there's a third aspect of it, is the fact that once we have this concept, this das from Moshe Rabbeinu, the main focus is that we ourselves should focus on this das. What does it mean? Says the Alter Rebbe, Ikar das eino hayediah levado sheyedu gdulas Hashem epi seifrim u'epi sfarim. He says, however, the essence of knowledge, which leads one to serve God with his whole soul and heart, is not mere knowing alone, that people should know the greatness of Hashem from the authors, from the sages, the spiritual guides, and the books. What is the main thing, says the Alter Rebbe? Lo ikaru le'amik daitoi b'gdulas Hashem v'liskoya machashavtoi b'Hashem v'choizek v'oimetz alev v'amayach. He says the essential thing is to immerse one's own mind deeply into these things, which explains the greatness of God, and fix our thoughts on God with strength and vigor of the heart and mind. The das is that we ourselves have to work on it, to connect to it, to focus on it, and to really have our mind focused strongly on this concept, that we feel it. Until his thought shall be bound to Hashem with a strong and mighty bond, just as you're connected to something physical that you see with your physical eyes, and which you concentrate on it. So this is the idea of das, the third aspect. As it is known that das, the knowledge, means union, connecting. Like the verse says, "Va'adam yoda es Chava," that Adam knew Chava, that Adam knew Eve, and knowing meant, in that sense, means connecting. So this is the idea of connecting. So sometimes you have a concept, you study something, and it is still an intellectual concept. When you connect to it, you feel it. There's the story we told once about one of the sages, a true story that happened in Europe. A big Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Meislish, I believe his name was, back in the days. And he was a businessman as well. He had shipments of lumber shipping overseas. And there was once that all of his boats drowned, and he lost a big fortune. And they didn't know how to break the news to him that it shouldn't affect him. And they sent one of the yeshiva boys says, I'm going to try to do it. So he walked over to him, the Rosh Yeshiva, says, Rabbi, I have a question. I want to understand something. He says, it says, the Talmud says that Keshem shemitzvah levorech ala teva, kach mitzvah levorech ala ra. Just like there is a mitzvah, just like one needs to thank God for the good things, you need to thank Hashem for the bad things. You have to have joy when something bad happens. You say, Baruch Dayan Emes, blessed are you, Hashem, the true judge. But you have to do it with the same joy. And the Bachar says, the Rebbe, I don't understand. How could you have the same way of thanking Hashem for good things and thanking Hashem for bad things? Bad things is bad things. How could you have it b'simcha? And he sat down and he explained to him that yes, that everything that comes from Hashem is good, even though we don't understand it, and it's good, and that's why whatever Hashem does, we have to accept the simcha, we have to do it with joy, and so on and so on and so on. On and on and on, and went until the students tells him, okay, Rabbi, I have some good news to tell you. You can start dancing. Your ships have drowned. As soon as the rabbi heard that, he fainted. And when they woke him up, he said, well, now all of a sudden, I don't understand this Talmud either. Sometimes you study, you understand, and you say, this is real, this is what it means, and you, when it comes to reality, you don't connect to it properly. And this is what the Alter Rebbe says over here. Our job is, we have Moshe Rabbeinu, who feeds us the emunah, feeds us the das. We have the Rebbe in every generation, that we have the emunah from the Rebbe, both from seeing the Rebbe and from learning the teachings of the Rebbe. And number 3, we have to focus ourselves and implement it, connect to it again and again and again, that when it comes to us it should become real. Believing in Hashem, that concept that everything is Hashem. This is something that we have to work on it every single day. I heard, by the way, this interesting fact that the idea of that the Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama is in the body of the tzaddik. That's why when you look on a Rebbe, you look on a tzaddik, that itself brings you the emunah. So it was an interesting fact that the Rebbe did not allow his picture to be publicized. And as soon as the Rebbe became a Rebbe, in 1951, when he as soon accepted his leadership, he allowed the picture to be published, so people could see the face of the tzaddik. So thank you all for joining, and Bezrat Hashem, join us tonight, 8 o'clock, will be the interesting class, and make sure to share, hit notification, and subscribe. We should see you all the best. Any questions?